Hey everyone, it's been a while. Great to be back. Quick disclaimer, if I sound a bit more tired than usual, it's because I am. I got a new electric car yesterday, went to charge it last night, and couldn't figure out how to unplug the damn thing. Long story short, I was stuck at the charging station until 4 a.m., which is the perfect segue into today's conversation because as exciting as technological progress is, from EVs to crypto to AI, it doesn't come without friction. And no one understands that better than Joni Pirovich. Joni, welcome to the show. Welcome to Beyond the Code, the podcast where industry experts and brilliant legal minds discuss the impact of new emerging technologies. I'm your host, Yitzi Hammer, a lawyer and tech enthusiast. Join us as we explore the legal, regulatory, and ethical issues surrounding AI, blockchain, and more. Get ready to go beyond the code and stay ahead of the game. I've been following you on LinkedIn for a while. You've got some great content, and we're obviously in very similar spaces. I'm very eager to hear more about your practice, your journey, some of the cool compliance tools that you've been building.
It's great to finally be connected because we've been tic-tacking on LinkedIn for a little bit now. So in a nutshell, crypto lawyer for almost 10 years now, started bedazzle, which is blockchain and digital asset
Coolest name, by the way.
plus law.
When I first saw it, I thought it was bdas'l, but that just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And that's okay. I love that people read badass into that.
Yes.
It's the crypto punk coming out of me. So, like you, crypto specialist law firm, the only rule of bedazzle is that you're doing something in crypto. So, and full stack in the sense that we're across the regulatory AML/CTF, tax, labor, IP litigation. You kind of need to be holistic to deal with crypto because it's so wide ranging. And, I would retire as a crypto lawyer, but that decision is not really with me because, as you know, AI is just changing the day to day so quickly. And I just started seeing more and more and didn't want to stay on the outside. I wanted to be building. I didn't want to be left out of the build because I did feel left out in the crypto sector. I should
Wait,
have
you're
built.
jumping to the end. I don't want to hear about your tools yet. I want you to go way back a little bit more. Tell me about your
Sure.
entrance to your legal career, how you got into crypto, how you started Bedazzle, if you had challenges starting Bedazzle, what it's like constantly explaining to people that you're a crypto lawyer and that that's a real thing. And then we'll
Yeah.
get to what you're doing now.
Oh, sure. Well, I'm used to skipping over that part, but happy to go through it. So I grew up on a mango farm and was
Cool.
put to work very early. And because it's a family business, we always had that work ethic of work smarter, because if there's a way to do it better, then that helps the family get through another season. You can't always rely on the seasons being great, which is a great analogy for the bull and bear markets we've seen throughout crypto. But actually, because money was hard to come by and my parents worked so hard, I just had this deep sense that whenever I got into a position to make decisions that count, that I would change the tax system to just make it easier to get ahead and to understand. My parents never felt that they could access financial and tax advice to structure their affairs in a better way to just get ahead. So they continued to work hard, and that just felt unfair to me. So I set out to be an international tax lawyer, and my first job was at the PwC International Tax Team in Melbourne, because I wanted to understand how were these high net wealth individuals and multinational companies doing it, so that when I was actually in that position to make decisions that count, maybe that's in government, maybe that's OpenAI or Microsoft, that I could make decisions that understood how the law was actually applied right now and what needed to really change. And throughout that, I moved on from PwC into law firms. And And around 2014 is when I was exposed to Bitcoin. Our Australian Taxation Office had released some guidance about the tax treatment of Bitcoin, and I engaged in it, but it didn't really. I'm embarrassed to say that Bitcoin didn't really stick with me the first time it
Fair
came
enough.
around. I didn't get it.
Not
I
everybody
didn't
is
get
a
it.
Bitcoin maxi.
Yeah. Well, but a few years later, when Ethereum came around, and as later in 2014, when we were hearing about Ethereum, I saw an article where it was about China using blockchain technology and Ethereum to automate the calculation and payment of taxes, so that not only was the collection efficient, but also the spending was more transparent, and it just cut out a lot of the intermediaries. And I thought, yes, this is the technology that I need to know and love because it's going to help me achieve this vision. And um, they've got some war stories there about submissions I've put into the OECD, and
Do share.
almost almost 10 years ago, they were doing this base erosion and profit shifting multi-year project, and I lobbed in a submission that said you have to think about blockchain as a tax administration efficiency tool on a global basis, not a domestic one. And I proposed this international scheme of collection and allocation to each jurisdiction based on how they would support these blockchain networks. But I got no traction.
Yeah, you must have been like fairly early on in your career then, and like also yourself just getting recently exposed to these technologies. Like, what did you? I'm just curious. Like, what did you
Yeah.
think that like that the tax administration was just going to be like, oh well, we're going to change the way we've been doing things for hundreds of years because of your submission. I don't mean like I don't mean it in
Yeah.
like a bad way. Just because like there's sometimes a naivety that comes with like being early on in your career. I mean, I'm sure that now you look at things differently, no?
Well, I'm a lot more jaded, but um, at the time, I
Maybe
think
just
it
because I'm
was
a
my
pessimist generally.
no, no. But when I proposed it, I sort of said it would have been around 2016 or 2017 at the time, and I proposed it as either the 2020 or the 2030 projection. So I was giving
Okay.
myself a five
You
or a
weren't so
15-year
off.
period. Yeah. But yeah, just no traction even by way of acknowledgement or response. So I thought, on it's not just going to be a submission or an email thing. I'm actually going to have to go to Paris and go to these OECD meetings and become a known quantity to be taken seriously. And that was the beginning of a foray into politics and international organizations and even national bureaucracies. And
Is that what you did?
yeah, so
Wow.
every year I would go to the OECD Blockchain Policy Forum in Paris. I would choose that over the consensus conferences because I was not a well-paid lawyer at the time, so I had to pick and choose, and that was my conference of choice, and it was the best melting pot because you got people that were our equivalent from all over the world, and within a day I was across 20 plus jurisdictions and what they were doing with their crypto
Wow.
laws and policies and taxes. It was fantastic, but didn't get any traction
Still
with
no
the
traction.
idea. Yeah.
I was waiting for the and then
Yeah, no,
okay.
no.
But
It
you just
sort of
kept
just
going every year, even though you weren't making any traction there.
yeah, well I realized early on that tax was going to be a distant last because
Okay.
the securities law question was the that was the go or no go for whether a business could even um, launch or be viable, and businesses were taking that risk. We had token launches, ICOs, in 2017, 2018. So they were much more willing to take the legal risk but also get the legal advice on the securities law points, and then AML CTF. But then it was like IP and then labor and litigation, and still tax was this distant last thing. So it actually helped me transition out of my tax specialization. Tax was always my anchor, but when I moved into law firms and I was asked to head up, and build the blockchain and digital asset practices across the whole law firm, it just naturally progressed out of a tax specialization. And that's when I became full stack, working with partners that were experts in each of their domain on all of the crypto projects, which has been fantastic.
Yeah. Okay, so then you worked in, I guess, like big law or medium-sized law firms leading up their digital assets practices, and then
Yeah.
in 2021 decided to go all in on crypto on your own?
Yeah.
Or did I
Well,
skip
and
something
that's,
there?
well, I guess the key thing in 2021 was that I was offered a position to be general counsel of a Bitcoin mining enterprise in Australia. And
Okay.
they were doing fantastic things around renewable energy connected to Bitcoin mining. That whole proposition of supporting the funding pipeline of renewable infrastructure and upgrades to the transmission infrastructure network, which is degrading in Australia as it is in many jurisdictions, and to build up, in addition to renewable energy infrastructure, a Bitcoin reserve, to have a portion of the Bitcoin mined go to be paid in taxes and then form part of Australia's Bitcoin reserve. That was the plan. It was a grand vision. It didn't just fulfill crypto policy objectives, it started to fulfill some national sovereignty things, which I really liked. And so, as part of transitioning out of my law firm work, I was the responsible lawyer for all of the crypto projects, and was project managing them across the firm. I couldn't just let that go. So, bedazzle was set up as a consultancy to support that transition, where um, I would have to say goodbye to my crypto clients and empower the law firm to take over and transition more into the general counsel of the Bitcoin mining enterprise role. Now, that was just not a good time because the Bitcoin price was low. The company struggled to raise capital and purchase all of the equipment, and there were delays with all of the transmission infrastructure that was needed. So, just by accident, my time wound down in the mining enterprise, and actually, clients said, "Well, if you're available, we'd just rather work with
Work
you
with you.
directly." Yeah. And so it was this organic transition where um, bedazzle really happened by accident. I never set out to do a crypto specialist law firm, but then when it turned out that way, I just embraced it, and here I am 5 years later.
Wow. And it's been a good 5 years. It's been a good run.
Yeah, I'm doing the job I love, and I'm
That's
my own
amazing.
boss. Yeah.
And I love how you're doing it also. Like we like often struggle in this industry to explain to people like what it means to be a crypto lawyer and like to structure the services in a way that makes sense. And I just like been messing around on your website. Like you did a beautiful job just making everything so easy to understand. And I don't know if anybody actually fills out the thing, the thing, the thing, but it's just like so simple, so easy. For some reason, I haven't been able to dumb it down that way, and it just I over complicate things, and so it's really like it's nice to look at. So
Well, and
kudos on the
that's
website.
that's but it goes back to those family values. If my parents have no idea about crypto and no idea about general financials and tax, um, and so you have to keep it simple, and that's my benchmark
Yeah,
for myself.
amazing. So that's bedazzle, and I'm sure that takes up a great deal of your time, but that's not your only hat that you wear, right? So tell me a little bit about the other stuff that you're working on now.
Yeah, sure. It's okay now to talk about it.
Now you can
Uh,
talk about it.
well, it was I guess a drive to be more efficient in the way that I could deliver legal services with the tools
Hmm.
that were becoming available. And I was testing all of them, including ChatGPT, and they just weren't good enough for what I needed to really make myself the superhuman that I needed to be, to either do more work or do it differently, just do it more efficiently. So I had already, as I'm sure you do, because you've got that global reach, over the last 10 years, I've been saving down all of the crypto specific laws and guidance as they've been announced. And it was just my own repository that I would control find in my own uh, Google Drive. And I just thought, well, this seems like an obvious case. I'll just put this in a RAG database with a chat front end so that I can just chat with that global knowledge base rather than this quite um, rudimentary
Chunky.
control find. Yeah. Where I still have to open the document and read it. Like
Yeah.
it's here. But as simple as that concept was, it took me 3 goes at development to get a working prototype, to just do the basic thing of understand that knowledge base and then
And
bring
being able to
responses
talk
to
to it.
me.
Hmm.
Yeah. And so what you would now know what's been launched to the public as Crystal Basic, that's that ChatGPT, but with the global crypto legal brain of knowledge behind it. And when the responses are produced, the citations are all hyperlinked to the official source. But if that's broken, then we keep a backup PDF archive of whatever the document was. So that's cut down. I do all my drafting, template preparation with
Wow.
Crystal, and uh, it's honestly to the level of associate or senior associate. And what might have taken me a couple of hours to draft from scratch, um, I can now do it very quickly and sort of maximum 1 or 2 hours to review and make sure that I'm comfortable with it and check the citations.
Right.
So
And because it basically is coming from your brain, you're able to kind of anticipate where the issues might be. But somebody else who's relying like wholly on Crystal might not have that ability to kind of poke holes. So what have you
yeah,
found? Have you found that it's been like overall accurate?
I it depends. So you can choose which model you use. We're LLM agnostic.
Hmm.
So we give the user the option. And the OpenAI models do tend to perform better for the drafting and template preparation tasks, but the Anthropic models tend to do better if you're trying to drop a bit of code in to analyze, like, what is the meaning of this code compared to this legal requirement,
Hmm.
or for some of the review functions that I might get some text from a client that I would like reviewed against the Crystal's brain. So you chop and change, and we're working on the UI to communicate all of the results of that testing better. But yeah, I use it every day, and I think
Wow.
every crypto lawyer and crypto business should use it every day.
Right. So that was my next question. Who are your clients? Is it crypto lawyers or is it companies? Like, is it meant to be for self use for people who want to check their internal
Yeah,
compliance or for compliance
it's
professionals?
well, to answer that is to say it's for everybody, but crypto lawyers will get the most use out of it.
Mhm.
And the Cole Crypto Code Council vision has 3 parts to it. So Crystal Basic is the first necessary part. It's that chat view which everybody is familiar with that's using ChatGPT. But the next part of the vision is called Crystal Business. And that's a platform view where a crypto business, would connect in all of their tools like Gmail, Google Drive, AWS, GitHub. And our platform gives visibility of all of the business processes, all of the humans involved, the data inputs. And so with that visual ability to see an end-to-end business process, so for a crypto exchange, it might be token listing. You can then insert Crystal as an AI agent in one or more parts of that process so that each human involved in the end to end has the
Could run
benefit of
through.
the brain.
Wow.
And you're not leaving it to a backlog or a wait list with the internal legal department, which is often under resourced.
And
So
as mhm.
Oh, and
No, no,
and
go
it's
ahead.
not intended to be the be all and end all. You still specify the human in the loop, which might be the internal legal counsel or YITSI as the external legal counsel human in the loop. But it's designed to give like red flag indications on, okay, no, definitely don't distribute this product in the UK until you have the registration with the FCA. to sort of prevent those compliance breaches if they otherwise wouldn't know about them.
Very
And then
cool.
the third, oh, go ahead.
No, no, no. My main question always with these things is just the issue of like privacy and data security. Like if I'm inputting client data to kind of get an output based on the AI, like how comfortable could I be there?
Well, this is one of the main reasons that I built this from scratch is that I could never get a clear data security answer from most of the providers, or even if they said that they would collect the data but not use it, there was no audit or transparency. So we're going through our data security certifications at the moment, ISO 27001 and SOC 2 Type 1 and 2. Um, and there's more information that we can share on that. But suffice to say, it's absolutely important for to be able to use it in my own practice. I need that assurance and verification too. And we're using Vanta, who you may have heard of. So once we're a certain percentage complete, we're only 70% complete right now. Every person will have access via our Trust Center, which is published on our website, for that real time verification of what we're doing with the data, whether we've changed our policies, um, all of the things that you as an individual or you as a law firm or a crypto business handling sensitive personal information would want to know to get your approvals to use the product.
Very impressive. I'm excited. I'm actually just on their website now. I'm gonna register for a basic plan to get my feet wet a little bit and then move on to
Yeah,
business.
absolutely. Well,
um,
then the third part is we're still working on the name, but Crystal Champion, and that's where we're getting into. She's like a guardian angel for every human that's doing something in crypto, and she'll tell you, "Oh, Yitzi, you just did this DeFi transaction. I've already snapshotted it for your tax record keeping purposes." Or you might want to interact with a DeFi protocol and you say, "Hey, Crystal, just check this for any security vulnerabilities. Do I really want to use this one, or can you suggest some others?" And so she goes beyond regulation of the crypto business as the intermediary and allows humans to step up and protect themselves as consumers where intermediary based regulation just won't be
wow.
enough.
So maybe Crystal Companion, because it sounds like she's
Yeah,
like with you all the time.
that's a great name. I'm going to steal it.
It's yours.
Yeah,
Go
thank
for
you.
it. Wow, really cool. So tell me, like, what's kind of some feedback you've gotten from users and from generally people in the industry who've been exposed to Crystal? Like, I saw you post
Yeah,
about it, but I haven't actually had the opportunity to go to your website and check it out. So I'm happy that this
yeah.
has prompted me to do that. What have you heard from some people who have gotten their feet wet and started using the
Well, they
platform?
yeah, they well, because Crystal Business won't be released until July because we
Okay.
want to get the data security certifications in place. Um, the Crystal Basic users are saying this is a godsend. Thank gosh, this product is here. I was with a client, a bedazzle client today on a video call, and we had Crystal up and we were populating tax records, trustee resolutions, crypto specific things. And we did in 10 minutes with the client using Crystal what otherwise would have taken me 1 or 2 hours by myself. And then I would have sent it back to
Wow.
him. So it's just changing, and he had his wow moment. He's like, "Oh, I get it now, and I'll use this." And you can specify to connect with a crypto pro. So he's going to do more in Crystal now to get things ready, and then he'll say, "All right, connect with a crypto pro, send the conversation and the templates or the documents to Joni at
Oh,
Bedazzle for review."
interesting.
And it changes the way that I'm delivering legal services because Bedazzle is a power user of Crystal Basic in the same way that I am as an individual user.
Right. So do you think that like I already have clients who kind of send me a chat GPT contract that they generated, but they know that chat GPT isn't sufficient and then they'll ask me to like do my magic. Um,
Yeah.
typically what I'm getting is kind of crap. So like it's actually harder than what they but do you anticipate that now clients are gonna like be running things through Crystal and then sending it to their lawyers to fine tune or
Mm.
that they're maybe going to be telling their lawyers this, I don't need you anymore, or you're overcharging me because I could just get Crystal to do almost as good enough of a job?
Yeah, well, it was funny with the client that I was dealing with today. He has his own ChatGPT subscription, and in Crystal we were using 4.1, and he did the same prompt in Crystal, and then he tried it the same prompt in his own ChatGPT with 4.1, and the quality was vastly different. The ChatGPT version, there were some good things about it, but I basically would have scrapped it and started again. But the level of accuracy that you can get from Crystal, because she's referencing the prompt through her knowledge base, it's more accurate and more specific. So the client in this case, he said, yeah, I get why I would use Crystal for crypto specific things now, because it's designed to be more accurate. And like I said, it was a much better experience for the client and myself as the lawyer to produce a good quality product.
So cool.
So yeah, but ChatGPT, and OpenAI, the models are evolving quickly, so we don't assume that we'll always have that advantage, and that's essentially why we're building more of the features into Crystal Business, and we have the progression through to Crystal Companion, uh, because we think that we're in the race of our lives, and it has to keep evolving.
Wow. So who are some of your competitors? Like, has anybody been doing this yet? Like, I know we use a few AI solutions for lawyers, but nothing that's like crypto dedicated. And to be honest, like I've used like two out of the three in the market, and they're not like amazingly impressive. Like they're better than ChatGPT in the sense that they're tailored to lawyers, they're SOC 2, etc. But like some of the output is
Mm.
just total junk.
Yeah, well, my heart sunk today, and it does like every fourth or fifth day in AI, because Harvey.ai released their workflows
Hmm.
features, and that's sort of exactly what we're doing in Crystal Business, but for crypto specific workflows. And my team, God bless them, I just said, oh, that we don't have enough resources. We're not as big. We're not backed by OpenAI yet. um, Harvey is just going to beat us. And they said, no, no, like they do not have the knowledge, the crypto specific knowledge that you do. They're not focused on the crypto specific domain. So they would more likely acquire you to just quickly infuse the Harvey product with all of the crypto specific stuff. So it's a competitor in one breath, but also an exit opportunity in
Yes.
another. But we just have
Okay.
to move fast
Well,
enough.
yes, keep your eye in both directions, I guess.
Yeah. But it's hard
Fantastic.
being a founder. Like that's the life.
I'm sure. Do you have time to like focus on bedazzle, or are you just like solely focused on building at this point?
Yeah, no, I've pulled back. In Bedazzle, I only accept strategic or novel matters that really drive law reform or the market forward. I don't
Hmm.
do a lot of the bread and butter that I used to do to just keep the practice going, because I purposely split my time between Bedazzle and the clients that are coming onto Bedazzle are, I'm sort of building the agentic workflows for them with them in mind to be Crystal Business users, which they're very supportive of. So it's synergistic, but it's at some point, Bedazzle will sort of probably have to play a retiree role while Crypto
For the
Co-Counsel.
greater good.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Um, Tell me, what are some things like outside of AI that you're excited about in the market? Like you're still tapped in, I guess, to the crypto industry, besides the product that you're building, which is a game changer for people like me. What are you excited about in crypto generally?
Well, it's the promise that it can make our business lives and everyday lives more transparent, simpler, fairer. I still believe in that fundamental promise that blockchain technology has to offer, and I can't wait for the DeFi stack where I can have Bitcoin, ETH, or other blue chips as collateral, have the loan proceeds, constantly, perpetually generating based on whatever the excess value is that I have, and managing repayments at the time that I'm close to the liquidation threshold. But all of the other stuff goes to investment management tools that are working for me and freeing up my time to be with my little kids and my husband.
I wonder, have you
So
ever like implemented any of those blockchain technology solutions with your parents' mango farm?
no, no,
No.
the closest I've come, I got them to buy some Bitcoin and ETH,
Okay.
and and they bought a few years ago, and when it had its recent peak, just before the current climb, they sold some, and they're like, Joni, we can't believe it. We've never made this much money off of just an investment in our lives. Thank you so much.
Wow, small
So
wins, I guess.
yeah, we're going very steady with them.
Okay. Fantastic. Okay, Joni, thank you so much for joining me. I mean, I'm sure many of my listeners are hearing this and hearing about Crystal for the first time and are going to want to find out more about Crystal and about you. Where's the best place to find you on social media? And what's the best way to get in touch with you if people are interested in subscribing to Crystal?
Sure. Well, for me, Joni Pirovich on LinkedIn, that's where I live mostly. And for Crystal, go to crystalchat.ai
Hmm.
and
With that,
you get
that's
7 days free.
Crystal, Crystal chat.ai.
That's right.
Fantastic. And cryptocouncil.com, no, is not the way to go anymore? Because that's where
Oh,
your
you can still use that domain. It's just longer to say.
cryptocouncil.com or
Crystal
Crystal
Chat.
Chat AI. Fantastic. Joni, thank you so much. I really appreciate this. And I look forward to getting access to Crystal and to future versions of Crystal, especially Crystal Companion.
Yeah,
PM.
exactly. Naming credits go to you. Thanks,
Thank
Yitzi.
you. Thank you for listening to Beyond the Code. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe, share with your friends, and to tune in again next week for more fun and insightful conversation.